We're also going to have this one, the SCP stream, at a higher maximum. See if that makes it go on for longer than a friggin' week.
Blood.
There we go. New challenges. They're ready. Cool. Fish. Okay. Let me just get up the other one's waiting. Wait, where's it? Oh, big one. Okay, so DJ's one. I don't know why I'm scrolling down. I should have clicked one of the links. Usually butterflies. Tails up, I think. I'm going to try and search. Yeah. Cool. Well, it should be that up there.
Jin.
No, bear with me. There we are. Let's also pop this up. Okay. Let's get started. Item number 7472, Level 2 restricted. Containment class pending. Special containment procedures pending. Description: 7472 is the disappearance of an estimated 40,000 to 280,000 squirrels in and around Poznan, Poland. Investigation is ongoing. You're currently reviewing an outdated version of this document. Click here to see the current iteration. Boop. Item 7472, Level 5, Top Secret. Containment class Safe. Disruption class Dark. Risk class Notice. Special containment procedures. 7472 has been acquired and isolated from the public by the Foundation under Standard Cover Protocol SQ028-B, Gas Leak. The doors leading to the building itself have been padlocked. A single guard is to be stationed nearby at all times to ensure no individuals enter 7472. By order of the Overseer Council, entry into the structure is forbidden. Description: 7472 is an 8-floor block of flats located in Poznan, Poland. Access into the building, including air vents, water pipes, and other such structures, have been entirely blocked off, save for a single narrow corridor that connects 7472's interior with the outside world. Above the door leading into the building through the aforementioned corridor hangs a small metal placard that reads SCP Foundation Department of Hibernation. No such department has ever been found to exist. The remainder of this file has been locked by O5 order. Lock overridden. The interior of 7472 consists of 8 ascending levels, structurally identical to neighbouring non-anomalous apartment buildings. 7472 differs from these buildings in its interior. All structural elements which would normally be present in a building of this type, doors, stairs, functioning windows, etc., have been removed. Most floors are bare concrete with sheet metal covering the windows. In place of typical rooms, furnishings and appliances, 7472 contains the following: 8 large and empty containers on every floor, 4 are slightly damp, 4 are dry. All containers are connected via pipes to a structure located deeper within 7472. Its location and purpose are indeterminate. Human bones, lightly gnawed. An advanced air filtration system spanning all floors. 1 elevator. Although the elevator has not been modified, the walls of the elevator shaft have been removed. Ooh. That's anxiety-inducing. Lift has remained perpetually active for as long as the Foundation has been aware of it. Attempts to stop the elevator to further research 7472's interior have been unsuccessful. Approximately 2 million corpses belonging to red squirrels. Sirius vulgaris. Corpses are spread randomly across all floors. The source of these corpses and the reason none of them have decayed remains unknown. What the fuck? Hello and welcome, and thank you for your contribution to the Wild Game Stream Challenge. Addendum 7472-1. Following several months of testing, the Foundation has stopped 7472's elevator. Entry into the lift revealed an incomplete human skeleton, a pen, a notebook, and an unidentified electronic device. The first page of the notebook was transcribed as well as possible. Can I kill them? Can I throw them all in hole? Excavate hole? Fill with food water? Does that count? Squirrel maxing. Average volume 0.002 meters cubed. 0.003 meters just to be safe. Hollow block is like 20-ish by 30-ish by 20-ish. 12,000 meters cubed. Minus 20% for walls plus elevator. Minus 25% for everything mentioned before. 7,200. 2.4 million squirrels, $120 million. Right, so $1,000 per citizen plus hotel costs equals $119,846,000. Minus appliances, writing number indiscernible, possible occurrence scale, Bartic runes, removed for safety purposes. Round up to something above 90 million. No logical reason to not do this. No money was found within 7472. Further investigation revealed a 125cm squared hole at the bottom of the elevator shaft, which connects to a further tunnel. With the exception of the padlocked door leading to 7472, this tunnel is the building's only entrance and exit. Addendum 7472-2. Foundation technicians have successfully opened the electronic device. It contains most of its commercially available Raspberry Pi Zero W starter kit, 1 leaf, 4 pine needles, and several segments of copper wiring. While Foundation technicians were unable to activate the device before or after opening it, they were able to access the device's microSD. It contains several files of non-functioning code and a single rich text file, encoding using a hitherto unknown method. Attempts to read this file are ongoing. What the fuck? Hey, hello and welcome. What? SCP-7472 Hibernation Report Final Nuts. Oh my god. Scamper class. Cannot scamper. Collect class. Collect at site of discovery. Proliferate class. Not proliferating. Scamper, collect, proliferate. What the fuck is this? Details. A core of tenet of squeakonomics is scarce. What the fuck is squeakonomics? What the fuck is any of this SCP now? Is scarcity. As much as we would love to gather food forever, we are limited by the oncoming winter and the risk of predation. Since we can never satisfy our infinite desires, we instead make trade-offs between various aspects of our lives. We limit our time on the ground to stay safe from foxes. We only collect as much as we need for the winter before doing other things. This was the law of nature, at least before SCP-7472 was discovered. 7472 is a Homo sapiens shelter in Poznan, Poland, with a footnote of indirect food provider, not predator, not resource competitor, dog symbiote. Containing a single Homo sapiens referred to as 7472-1. 7472-1 is a highly trusting, suggestible, and collection-orientated. Their combined presence is strategically beneficial for the Foundation. We've been influencing 7472-1 for several reasons. The Foundation front organization, Squirrel Containment Pros. Disguised to 7472-1 as fellow Homo sapiens. Oh my god, it's a bunch of squirrels in a trench coat. Has proposed an exchange to 7472-1, whose outcomes will be advantageous for both parties involved. Footnote of details restricted to members of Operational Group Alpha 1, human people. However, should he at any point fail to abide by the terms outlined in the proposed documents, the exchange would be cancelled. 7472-1 has accepted the offer. Covert psychological influence of 7472-1, accomplished by having several of us stand very close together outside of 7472, has resulted in it retrofitting its expansive shelter to contain as many living squirrels as possible. If successful, this will result in a Mulberry-class end of predation scenario, and an Oak-class endless nuts scenario for anyone involved. Surveys of 7472 have noticed its exogenous temperature control, suggesting a potent Maple-class warm winter scenario. If 7472 is sufficiently expanded, the proliferation of habitats without scarcity would ideally result in a Sycamore-class squirreled peace scenario. What the fuck did I pick to read? The transfer of staff into 7472, beginning with Foundation High Command, is ongoing. Oh god. And it just loops back to the original document, I think. Yeah, it just loops back. What the fuck was any of that? Squirrels, yeah, squirrels. Squeakonomics first grade stuff. Are they putting foundation stuff into squirrels? I think it might just be a squirrel's point of view of the SCP Foundation. Because, what the fuck? I don't even know. And now Kelly wants me to have a punishment thing. Squirrel's piece is phenomenal. It is. Scamper, collect, proliferate. Fucking Scamper, collect, proliferate. That's gonna be the YouTube title. That's what that fucking is.
Collect.
Oh, okay, I've got to get the wheel to side up here so I can see what I'm going to punch my throat with. Fucking devil's food size stinger. I love the fact that you can only just see that tiny little banner of it. Mm. Oh. I think I would rather lick squirrel testicles than that. Ugh. Thank you, Ryan, for the contribution to Live Game Stream Challenge. To change this. Shortest way I can put it. What the hell is SCP-6222 Fish Prison? What the fuck? Lily, hello and welcome. SCPs, yes indeed. Why have I been pinged? What? Yeah, that's gonna have to go on that. I don't think I've read it, because it does not sound familiar. Nope, I've not seen that. As for your request for SCP-055 due, I've already read it on, like, 4 streams ago. What the fuck is this going to be? Yeah, 16,000 points. Yeah, because the Masochism stream challenge got completed. So I refunded all that. I think that might have been a request. It might have been actually, yeah. Because I think you might have come in and asked for the tail, and then you just did the SCP instead. But yeah, that's what that might be. Right. Okay. Congratulations, Lily, on redeeming not first plus, first and second. You are the premium succubus as always. There we are. And send those points back to DJ. Not read that one, so I present that. Item number SCP-408, Object Class Safe. Special Containment Procedures. The screen mesh aviary must be kept properly maintained by Level 2 personnel with backgrounds in biology or lepidoptery. I don't know why this all seemed familiar. Proper humidity must be maintained and recorded once per day, and backed up to Site 17. 200 feeders filled with an aqueous sugar solution are to be maintained and refilled once per week. Oh yeah, I haven't read this one. Why does my camera look a bit fuzzy? It was. Description. 408 is a large mass of Lepidoptera, taking the appearance of zebra butterflies when not camouflaged. 408 acts as a single entity at all times, speculated to be a form of hive mind communication among the mass. When inactive, 408 will take on the colour, pattern and even texture of its immediate surroundings, making them functionally invisible. When threatened, 408 has been observed to take on the form of an appearance of a number of threatening creatures as a defence method, including a pride of lions, a Tyrannosaurus Rex, and most notably, SCP-682. What the fuck?
What's a 682?
Hate Gator. The immortal Hate Gator. It's
mascot for the University of Florida?
pretty much. It's a massive, endlessly regenerating, immortal being that looks a bit like an alligator. But it's like, and it hates humanity. Absolutely detests humanity, just wants to kill everyone and everything. .408 possesses the ability to communicate and reason, using its ability to manipulate its colour into words and sentences to reply to researchers. IQ tests administered to 408 have evaluated its IQ to be 109, or slightly above average. However, when a part of the swarm is isolated, lower scores have been reported, resulting in a theory that 408 shares its cognitive capacity amongst the entirety of the swarm. As of 408 prefers to identify by its SCP number. 408 was discovered in Brazil after reports that locals and logging teams found their maps to be frequently inaccurate regarding the size of the rainforest. After reports of animal sightings not local to either Brazilian rainforest and some not found on Earth at all, Foundation agents began an investigation resulting in the discovery of 408. After learning it was intelligent, Dr. who accompanied the agents in the field, communicated with 408 and convinced it to accompany him to Site 17, where the current habitat exists. Addendum 408-A. Regarding 408's knowledge of SCP-682, an investigation is underway regarding this leak of information. Incident 408-A. Due to a failure by appropriate personnel to properly refill 408's feeders, the swarm took upon itself to find sustenance by its own means. Taking the appearance of several Level 1 personnel, 408 convinced a passerby to open the door to the aviary, upon which they made an escape into the Site 17 facility. For the whole of the day, Site 17 personnel reported an alarming series of irregular events, ranging from colour-changing walls to several dozen versions of 529 walking down the hallway. Excuse me. Site 17 was placed on lockdown and Delta level alert when it appeared that 90% of the containment units had been breached. Dr. Kondraki, head of research for 408, had been out on assignment that day. And it wasn't until his return that the illusion had been revealed, and in short order 408 was returned to its aviary. Little damage was done except to the faculty break room, which was left without proper sweeteners for the next week. Note, it may be just sugar water, but without it, 408 is prone to mischief, as we clearly saw yesterday. It's fortunate that it doesn't act maliciously, but think about others next time you slack off custodial duties. Think about yourself as well, as I will not tolerate having to use sweet and low in my morning coffee for very long. Dr. Kondraki. Wow. Addendum 408-B. Recent field testing has shown that 408 can act as an effective form of active invisibility when ordered to. 408 was able to conceal 5 Level 2 personnel and keep them undetected throughout the facility. Tests showed that concealment to operate at 99.997% efficiency and can be maintained for up to 5 hours without need for rest or recuperation. The option of lending 408 to task forces for covert operation is pending approval. Addendum 408-C. During Incident 239-B, Clef Kondraki, which SCP-408 was heavily involved in, a number of corpses left by Dr. Clef vanished in the aftermath of the event. Surveillance showed that at certain times the entire swarm of 408 would descend on the body, only to leave no trace of the corpse behind. Subsequent testing shows a proportional increase in IQ, although a lack of cooperation, when questioned, has shed no light on this development. Oh god. Interview log 408-C. Interviewer Dr. Sagai. Interviewee SCP-408. Dr. Sagai is seated within the aviary, while 408 hovers around a large feeding trough filled with sugar water. I'll start off with asking how you're recovering. You seem to have lost quite a bit of your mass after the 531-D termination. 408 responds by uniformly creating words one after the other. Kondraki, where? I'm his substitute for the interview, as he happens to be busy adjusting to his new promotion. Lots of paperwork, I'm told. A moment goes by. I fine. Recover good. Food good. How exactly do you replenish your numbers? Compl. Icated. Don't know how word. Was Dr. Kondraki the one who taught you to speak? Yes. Teach a lot. He taught you, but how do you communicate with him? Don't know. Word lost in space. You lost the part that knew? Yes. I forget until return. Well, next question then. What happened with SCP-091-ARC and you during the incident a few moments ago? Pretty smell. Familiar. Long time. You mean you spelled it before? Yes. Long before people. Are you saying you predate human existence? No response. Never mind, it doesn't matter. Last question. Close the interview questionnaire sets on the ground. What is the nature of your relationship with Dr. Kondraki? He think right. He right. That's not what I meant. Logs show that you're with him out of containment almost all the time now. Dr. Kondraki has been breaching protocol by letting you out of containment. I don't know what... You're going to admit this to me so I can bring it to before oversight. Do you know what I was doing before that schmuck snatched me up as an assistant? I was head of research for the entire subhuman safe SCP sector. Now I'm interviewing a damn insect. I will have him thrown out. Oversight won't let him get away with this. 408 proceeds to approximate a laugh, as described in the log as a caricaturated face displayed by 408. Are you laughing at me? I'm about to have your little friend terminated and you're having a chuckle. 408 shifts to display a new image, which was presumed to be a live feed of Dr. Kondraki in his new office. No, that's not possible. I've read the damn logs. You can't do that. You can't do that. Dr. Sagai attempts to damage 408. Guards later found Dr. Sagai huddled in a fetal position, displaying symptoms similar to post-traumatic stress syndrome. Jesus Christ. Butterflies, dude. Don't fuck with them, apparently. They say who hates all things alive, with a couple of exceptions. Also, the direct thing that can thwart 682 is 666 and Hearthstroke J. Yog-Shugoth, release me from this mortal coil, and then probably expires. Comments by a local researcher. Jesus wept. That's still one of my favourites. Word good mood. Yeah, that's been me today mostly. And after this will be 6222. Yeah. I will actually just quickly go out and grab that one. Yeah, there's Fish Prison. I don't even know. I don't even know what to say to Fish Prison. Don't. I just don't at all. Right. So, we are on the tail of we need to talk about 55. Can I smoke? This time the receptionist narrows her eyes at Marion. No, she says. You know you can't smoke anywhere on Site 200. Just because it's an administration building doesn't mean we don't have lungs. Or labour law. Marion notices the exasperation on the young woman's face. I've asked you that before, haven't I? Twice in the last quarter hour, the receptionist says. You must really need a smoke. She genuinely puzzled at a repeated question, and she's doing a bad job of concealing her puzzlement. You think this is like Memento, don't you? Mario offers charitably. You think I have no long-term memory, and if I stay in one place too long, I forget why I'm there. The receptionist is only just old enough to remember that film. I guess? Marion smiles sympathetically and shakes her head. It's nothing so simple. Minutes pass. She toys obsessively with her lighter. She's turning 50 this year and slowly greying, well on her way out of petite towards little old lady. In her bag, her phone beeps because it's time for a pill, but she tells it to remind her later. There's a slight tremble in her fingers, but it's not age-based infirmity. It's just ordinary nerves. She's nervous because she's here to meet an 05, and 05s are scary. 05s never want to see you for a small thing. It's the end of the world or nothing. Imprison your fish. Put my fish right into you. Finally, 40 minutes late, the door to the inner office opens. 4 or 5 high-ranked Foundationers spill out carrying laptops or briefcases. As a group, they head straight past reception out to cars which are waiting. Marion recognizes a few of the faces. The Site 19 site director, the head recruiter for Western Europe, none of them glance her direction. Once they're gone, 058 assistants pokes his head through around the door. He's 20-something, improbably youthful, like a teenager stuffed into one of his dad's business shirts. His haircut is barely regulation. In one hand he holds a tablet computer showing his boss's day planner. It's packed. The man evidently does not sleep. Marion, you can come through now. The office door closes behind them with an unusually heavy mechanical clunk, as if the whole thing is part of a machine built in the office walls. While Marion takes the indicated chair and sets her bag down, the assistant turns and does some confusing additional things to the door, causing it to make several further strange noises. 05s have a non-trivial privacy and security requirement. The offices are spacious, but somehow contrives to be dark despite two big corners of window and broad daylight outside. The walls are all bookshelves and dark wood panelling, perfectly stylish, but stylish from the 90s, a little worn and not yet old enough to be fashionable again. As for the fellow behind the desk, well, an 05 never looks like you imagine. Marion takes a deep breath. So what's the topic? All I got with the meeting invitation, no agenda or subject. I mean, 05 says jump, you jump, but looking to her right, she notices that the assistant, without saying anything or making any undue noise, has sat his tablet down on a table, produced a gun and aimed it at her head. Marion stops talking. She sits still in her chair for a little while, absorbing the change of pace, letting her heart rise to a hummingbird's, and then start to flatten again. Okay, she hazards. She licks her lips and grips the armrests, otherwise staying perfectly still, waiting for another prompt. The assistant's face is totally neutral now, like this is just how meetings go. Maybe it is for people up here. Who are you? 058 asks her. Marion blinks. What? Oh God! Let me rephrase, 058 says. Marianne Wheeler, 49, with loving husband and 2 boys in tow, likes camping, hiking and ornithology. Boring mother with perfect airtight background and financials, as far back as we can examine. You've got full Foundation credentials which we've never issued, including access to a list of installments and rooms which, some of these locations don't exist, or were torn down decades ago. At least one hasn't been built yet you've got the front door key to it. That's before we get to your SCP access control list, which I only term as egregious. So you're a spy, and your objectives are misaligned with ours, and Clay wanted to cut Xi3 loose on you. But I was able to bring him around. I talked to him and to a face-to-face. I thought there was a slim chance that if we locked you in a bomb-proof room and asked politely, you'd have the good sense to spare yourself the rest. Marion has long since stopped listening. You dullard, she says, now she can finally speak. I'm your chief of Antimemetics. We don't have an Antimemetics division, Clay says. Yes, you do. We do. 058 says, we have a memetics division, a telecontainment division, fire services, Ops A, Ops B, personnel, D personnel, and 2 dozen others. We don't have an anti-memetics division. Do we have an irony division? Marion asks. She hesitates hopefully. No? Alright, well try this. Why do you think the anti-memetics division would show up in the listing? This is just a cover story, Clay says to 058, not taking his eyes off Marion. It's a good one, but she had worked out in advance. Clay, lose the piece, says the 05. Grudgingly, Clay does so. Marion reflects refractionally. There are SCPs with dangerous memetic powers, she says. They're contagious concepts which require containment just like any physical threat. They get inside your head and ride your mind to reach the other minds, right? Right, 058 says. He could name a score of SCPs fitting this description without even thinking. There are SCPs with antimemetic properties, Marion goes on. There are ideas which cannot be spread. There are entities and phenomena which harvest and consume information, particularly information about themselves. You take a Polaroid photo of one, it will never develop. You write a description down with a pen on paper and hand it to someone, but what you've written turns out to be hieroglyphics and no one can understand them, not even you. You can look directly at one, it won't even be invisible, but you'll still perceive nothing there. Dreams you can't hold on to and secrets you can never share, and lies and living conspiracy. It's a conceptual subculture of ideas consuming other ideas and sometimes segments of reality, sometimes people. Which makes them a threat. That's all there is to it, really. Anti-memes are dangerous, and we don't understand them, therefore they are part of the problem, hence my division. We can do the sideways thinking that's needed to combat something which can literally eat your combat training. 058 stares back at her for a long moment. Clay fidgets, disliking and distrusting the story, but the 05 seems more open to the concept. Name one, he says. Name an antimemetic SCP. SCP-055, Marion said promptly. There is no SCP-055, Clay retorts. Again, yes there is, Marion says. There isn't, Clay asserts. SCP numbers aren't assigned sequentially. There are gaps. That number hasn't been assigned. It's not a superstition, and we have enough to be concerned about without arbitrary numerological mysticism. We have SCP-666 and SCP-013. There's no SCP-001, and there's no SCP-055. Clay, 058 says, you should look at this. He turns his monitor so Clay can see the file that he has just retrieved. Clay bends over and reads it from top to bottom. Stunned, he scrolls back and reads it all the second time. But the file's dated from 2008, 058 says. It's got all the right flags and signatures. It's keyed and coded. It's real. You've seen this before? Never in my life, 058 says. As far as I can remember anyway. On the other hand, if the content is accurate, both of us have probably seen it dozens of times. Clay glares at Marion. This isn't possible. Marion nearly spits. For Christ's sake, Clay, how long have you been working here? But if this SCP is this powerful, he begins. Yes. Who wrote the file? The 05 finishes. And for that matter, how was the interview conducted? And who is Bartholomew Hughes? And most importantly, how do you, Mrs. Wheeler, retain knowledge of any of this? Bart Hughes wrote the file. He's dead, Marion says. What happened to him? You don't want to know. There's a very long pause where both 058 and his assistant react to this. In fact, they pass through a long discrete sequence of reactions. Indignation at the seeming rudeness, confusion at Weir's incaution of the front of Sinister's superiors, surprise at the magnitude of the claim, pure disbelief, comprehension, and finally, horror. What, 058 asks carefully, would happen if we did know? It would happen to you as well, Byron says levelly. As for the rest of your questions, we manage that pharmaceutically. Excuse me. You know we have Class A amnestics for people who very badly need to forget things. Of course you do. People who can forget about Class A amnestics. Well, in antimemetics we have a different pill for people who need to remember things that would otherwise be impossible to remember. Mnestics, Class W, X, Y, and Z. Same group root as the word mnemonic. The M is silent. In a bag, the phone beats again. With a nod of approval from the 05, Marion reaches into her bag and turns the phone off, acknowledging the prompt this time instead of postponing it. She pulls a blister pack from another pocket and pops a pill out. It's hexagonal and green. She holds it up and is satisfied to see a flicker of recognition on 058's face. He's beginning to pull it back together. Thank you for the hydration from Callie. Marion says, these are Class W mnestics, the weakest suitable for continual use. 2 pills per day. Go down to the site pharmacy and ask. The pharmacist will claim they don't stock any such thing. They're misremembering. Tell them to double check. Class A regretted forgetties, yes. 058 sighs. And now I think I get it. I see why we're having this conversation and that's all. Yes, Marion says, popping a second pill out and handing it over to him. It's because you missed a dose. You're supposed to be on these, the same as me and everybody on my staff. It's the only way we can work. You forgot to take a pill and then you forgot all the information that the pills are helping you retain. You forgot why you were taking them, who gave them to you, where to get more. You forgot about me and my entire department, and now I have to bring you up to speed. And if I take this, 058 says, I'll remember this whole conversation. We won't have to have it again. Hopefully not, Marion says. Clay pipes up, should I be taking those? Sorry, kiddo, 058 says. Need to know, maybe when you're an 05 yourself. He swallows the pill. Marion swallows her too. So what is SCP-055? 08 asks. 058 asks. SCP-055 is nothing, Marion says, now relaxing entirely. 055 is, as described in the file, a powerful information autosuppressor. As far as experimentation has uncovered, it can only be defined in negative terms. We can only record what it isn't. We know it isn't safe or Euclid. We know it isn't round or square or green or silver. We know it isn't stupid. We know it isn't alone. but what we do know is that it's weak. It's weak because it's the only antimemetic agent in our possession which has a physical entry in the files. We have paper records of the thing. We have containment procedures. It's not safe, which means it's dangerous, but it's contained. 058 blinks. You have procedures? Where? Marion points to her head. Then how many other anti-memes are there? How much more dangerous do they get? 10 that I know of, Marion says. Statistically, probably at least 5 more I don't know of. This does not count the antimemetic entities freely roaming the halls, not under containment. There are at least 2 in this room with us right now. Don't look. I said don't look, it's pointless. 058 does an impressive job of controlling himself, keeping his attention focused on Marion. Clay doesn't fare so well and quickly sweeps the whole room, even checking behind his back, making an ass of himself essentially. He finds nothing. He looks baffled. There's an invisible monster which follows me around and likes to eat my memories, Marion explains patiently. What the fuck? SCP-4987. Don't look it up, it's not there. I've learned to manage with it. It's like a demanding pet. I've produced tasty memories on purpose so it doesn't eat something important like my passwords or how to make coffee. And what's the other one? Clay asks. With another nod from 058, Marion goes to her bag again. This time she pulls out a gun and shoots Clay twice in the heart. More aghast than in pain, Clay collapses sharply against the bookcase behind him. Pulling his head around to face Marion, he manages, "How did you know?" Marion stands, aims more carefully and shoots him a third time, this time in the head. 058 again does an impressive job of not reacting. That's Clay's gun, he deadpans. You stole it from him. It's tricky to steal a firearm that's this heavy from someone without them noticing, Marion explains, unloading it and carefully setting it down. But stealing a firearm and then stealing their memory of the theft is a little easier. Like I said, a pet. Some pets are dumb enough that they can be trained. Yes, 058 says evenly. That much I'd guessed, but why? Because you were supposed to be taking Class W monestics, Marion says. You can't skip a dose of Class W monastic. I've tried. You can't postpone a dose, but you can't forget unless someone actively prevents you from taking it. There's only one person who could get close enough to you to do that, and that's your assistant. And remember when I asked him how long he'd been working here? He didn't answer, 058 says. I thought you were being rhetorical. He doesn't work here, Marion says. He's an anti-meme. Since when do you have an assistant? You don't have an assistant, Brent. Look at this office. It's got one desk. You've got a receptionist outside. She's the one who screens your calls and schedules your meetings. Where does Clay even sit? Where does he fit? Don't blame yourself. You're human, and these things are redaction incarnate. You need to think like a space alien to get around them. 058 asks a question which in any other workplace would be absurd. Is he dead? Maybe, Marion says. I can put his corpse out in our research queue and we'll see what we can see when we open him up. There's duality here, though. They're like parallel universes sharing the same space. It's conceptual versus concrete, figurative versus physical. It's very unusual for things to cross over. I don't know what Clay was, but he had a human body, which instantly makes him weird, even by our standards. As ever, the search for stalemate continues. I'll let you know if we get any closer. Any side effects of these pills? 058 asked. Nausea and dramatically increased risks of pancreatic cancer, Marion says. And very bad dreams. I like that. I like that. That was good. That was really good. Redaction Incarnate would be another good title for this tale series. It would. Redaction Incarnate. You go to sleep? No problem at all, Lily. Have a good sleep. Thank you very much for coming as long as you did. Up, we are going to go for as it stands, the title is There Is No Antimemetics Division. I like that. Still works, but you know, Redaction Incarnate also just works. And that's also for the Succubus. And next we're going to 040 after that one. So we'll send those points back for this one. Click on the right thing on OBS. Item number 6222, level 3 confidential, containment class esoteric, secondary class Thalmiel, disruption class dark, risk class warning. I'm going to regret reading this, I know I am. Special containment procedures. SCP-6222 and the surrounding park have been acquired and converted into Foundation Outpost 384. High priority containment cells are to be monitored at regular intervals. Signs and maps have been installed in explored sections of 6222 for ease of navigation. Investigations into the possible identity of the ownership of the facility are ongoing. Description: 6222 is a facility with an anomalously large non-Euclidean interior and a large sign on its exterior labelled Fish Prison. The vast majority of the rooms and layouts of 6222 heavily resemble baseline prison complexes and containment zones in Foundation sites, with the notable exception of inoperative lighting systems. Due to potential safety hazards and for ease of access, light fixtures have been installed in explored sections of 6222. All containment cells within 6222 hold at least one instance of aquatic life, designated as a 6222-1 instance. Contrary to the line outside 6222, not all 6222 instances are fish. Footnote of see addendum 6222.1. A placard can be found on or around each cell containing documentation regarding the respective 6222-1 instances. The cells themselves appear to be thaumaturgically reinforced by poorly understood manifolds, which has hampered abilities to intentionally breach 6222-1 instances for testing purposes. Kipper, go to fish prison. Yeet!
You woke up Cape.
Sorry, Gabe. I woke up Dresden as well. Smash or pass? Easy. Yes, smash. Despite the absence of liquid water in these cells, 6222-1 instances can emulate aquatic locomotion to aerially mobilize themselves. It is unclear whether this is an intrinsic property of 6222-1 instances or simply a secondary effect of 6222. Likewise, all 6222-1 instances do not require nutrition, produce excreta, undergo sentience, nor exhibit any anomalous behavior outside of what is considered normal of their respective species. Addendum 6222.1 6222-1 documentation. The following is an excerpt for 6222-1 documentation logs, a text on each cell's placard, and additional notes where applicable. Species 1, Pelurus remicontus, pink spiny lobster. Crime? Crime! Cannibalism. Notes, 6222-1 instance lacks several limbs. The shells of several other pinky spiny lobsters were also evolved in the cell. No other cell contains the C6222-1 instances. Species 8. Cyane capitilla or lion's mane jellyfish. Crime: assault, first-degree murder, illegal firearm possession, and terrorism. What the fuck am I reading? Notes, at least 4 personnel have spat in the direction of the cell since its discovery. 6222-1 instances under investigation for potential memetic influences. What the fuck? Species 1. Homarus scamarus, European lobster. Crime: hate speech. Notes, a post-it note was found on a placard labelled, "This one's a racist, Jim." Is this the Moppet Strimps? No, it's just fish prison, apparently. Species 2. Fractocephalops hemiloropos, red-tailed catfish. Crime: identity theft. Oh my god, they've been catfishing. Note, individuals within close proximity to the cell may experience temporary TIE amnesia. Footnote, total identity expungement, where the affected individual is incapable of recalling their identity or personal memories. Species 1. Ostrophaunus gorameri, giant gourami. Giant gourami magma is all I thought of. Crime: drunk driving and Grand Theft Auto. No notes. Good God, I've heard of driving under the influence, but never driving under the sea. Species 1. Nematoides magnifica, fire goby. Crime: arson. Notes, 6 documented cases of spontaneous combustion in items near the containment cell, including paper documents, a camera, the cell placard, and a researcher's lab coat. Species 3. Anomalocus candensis, aka SCP-4131. Crime: assault, battery, disruption of public order. Notes, cell located directly across cell containing trilobite 6222-1 instances. Due to the hostility displayed by contained 6222- instances towards each other, a barrier has been erected to obstruct line of sight between the 2 cells. Species, 4 Paradoxes paradoximus. Species, trilobite. Crime, assault, battery, disruption of public order. Notes, cell located directly across cell containing anomalous 62221 instances. Due to hostility displayed, instances towards each other, a barrier has been erected to obstruct sign of sight. Species, 1 Bathynomus dissimilporus, giant isopod. Crime, assault, battery, first-degree murder, miscythology. Footnote, context unknown at this time. You still represent them all. You don't have a choice, though, Callie. A perimeter... Note, a perimeter of 1 meter has been set up around the cell. 6222-1 instance anomalously stabbed and incapacitated 2 Foundation personnel that stood too close to the cell prior to this. What the fuck? Species, 1 Homo aqueous, finfolk. Crime, criminal trespassing. Notes, 6222-1 instance resembles Australian Prime Minister Harold Holt. Instance appears sapient, but does not respond to any attempts at communication. What the fuck? Species, unknown, see notes. Crime, assault, first-degree murder, vandalism. Notes, 6222-1 instance initially thought to be a giant squid until adequate lighting conditions revealed that the tentacles originated from the mouth of a larger entity resembling Cetorius Maximus or a basking shark. Oh my good god. It's Cthulhu. Species, NA, see notes. Crime, involuntary manslaughter, vandalism. Notes, containment cell occupied by metallic debris identified to be from the deorbited Mir space station.
Wow.
Species unknown. Crime, assault, first-degree murder, vandalism. Notes, 6222-1 instance appears to be a small fish despite the dimensions of its cell being many times greater. Investigations ongoing. Species unknown. Single instance resembling an oarfish with 9 human heads. What the fuck? Crime, voluntary manslaughter, vandalism, genocide, high treason.
What kind of fish was that?
An oarfish with 9 human heads. Notes, 6222-1 instance held within a large cage at the center of a large chamber. Ongoing investigations have been hampered due to the chamber being saturated with ammonia gas expelled from the instance. Well, there's your war crime. It's war crime fish. It's just war crime fish. Individuals outside the chamber door report hearing vocalizations coming from the 6222-1, which have been identified as pleas for mercy in Old Chinese. Awfulish with the... Oh my god. Right, that was an awfulish joke. Species unknown, see notes. Crime, voluntary manslaughter, vandalism, genocide, deicide. What the fuck? Deicide? How the fuck do you kill a god? Oh god, it's SCP. Of course. Notes. What the fuck is that? I don't know. Instance possess cognitohazardous and antimemetic properties that prevent visual identification. Filtered images infer that 6222-1 instance is over 100 meters in length and possesses a parentally symmetrical body pattern. Instance has also been observed to passively emit large amounts of Elan vital energy. Species, not applicable. Crime, apotheosis. Notes, cell appears empty despite being the largest discovered within 6222, measuring about 500 meters on each side. Trace amounts of compound Y909 present in a cell. Investigations ongoing. Y909 links to SCP-3000. Have I read 3000? I think I have. There's 2000. There's 7000. There's 1,000. I know there's one more. There's 6,000. I read almost all the 1,000 ones, apparently. There's 5,000. I knew I'd read that one. That's 3,001. So no, I have not. So that means I have not read 3,000 or 4,000, and those are the only series winners I've not read. There's too many fish, we should pare them down. God. What the fuck was any of that? What the actual fuck was Fish Prison?
I wonder why I keep an eye on my fish.
Why keep them in the dark during the day?
Then what are you looking at?
Fish. It's series 4. Anatasashisa. Okay. So 3,000 looks interesting. Let's need to change this. So for O, change that to a tail. Have another page on the end of it. Does. But doing the entirety of the Antimemetics division tails. There's 5 of them. Then there's a interlude. Then there's a huge amount. Yeah, we are not doing all of those. That's a huge amount. Ugh. Item number SCP-040, Object Class Anomalous Human, Containment Class Active, Hazard Rating Yellow. Standard Containment Policies: 2-person residential module, no amenity restrictions, access to site library, recreational facilities, cafeteria and public areas, supervised, dietary restriction, mild peanut allergy. Youth Educational Curriculum Enrollment, Doctors Abernathy, Logan and Izawa, bi-weekly psychological review by Dr. Abernathy, Schedule B experimentation plan. Special Containment Procedures: 040-1A, 1C and 1J have been approved to remain in the containment chamber with 040 for purposes of the subject's mental well-being. Security Chief Special Order 392-5. All the other entities modified by 040 during testing are to be disposed of after study according to standard biological specimen clearance protocols as outlined in document CDP Bio N1. Description: 040 is a human child capable of at-will manipulation of the physical characteristics of living organisms. Modified organisms are collectively referred to as SCP-040-1. Modifications are primarily cosmetic, ranging from simple hair color, hairing pattern changes to more... from simple color and pattern changes to more involved shifts in bodily form and structure. The creation of new specialized organs is possible, but appears to be the limit of 040's ability and currently has a 66% failure rate in testing. Modifications are limited to what will be physically possible, regardless of the probability of such a feature naturally arising. For example, while 040 can grant an organism wings that does not naturally possess them, they will not permit the creature to fly without meeting other physical requirements. 040-1 undergo behavior shifts as part of the modification process, acting with extreme loyalty to 040, regardless of prior association. Notes of this: date of birth, circa 2000, subject claimed to be 8 years old at the DOC. Place of birth, unknown. Date of creation, I'm guessing. Or no, date of containment. 2008. Height, 111 centimeters. Weight, 20.7 kilograms. Hair, bright pink. Eyes, bright green. Yellow left, heterochromia, black sclera on the left one. Oof. Other notes: blind in left eye. Skin sensitive to burns and easily bruised. Hair is brittle and falls out easily. Jesus. 040's anomalous property requirement requires significant focus and time to enact and causes intense headaches and nausea when performed for more than a few minutes at a time. The effect becomes increasingly unreliable and inaccurate the smaller the modifications or more complex the changes are. For O4Os and capable of altering microscopic organisms and has great difficulty in altering plant life. Dead organic matter may also be used, but must be used in conjunction with a living organism. Instances of O4O-1 cannot be modified more than once, though it is currently unknown if there is a hard limit of O4O's properties or from a lack of mastery over them. O4O's emotional state is within acceptable boundaries for an individual of its age group, accounting for the effects of prolonged containment and parental separation. Subject's intelligence is slightly above average for its age group, behaviour is generally cooperative, O4O acclimatised quickly to containment, and responded well to the initial orientation and social programs. O4O responds to the name 40 and does not appear to have any other given or chosen personal name. Recovery summary. Subject was taken into custody on 2008 as part of the raid on the keys to the Kingdom Christian Charter School for Gifted Youth in Colorado. The raid's primary objective being the capture or execution of a former CIA operative who previously worked alongside Foundation intermediaries as part of Project Black Book, Project Smilodon and Operation Stargate from 1967 to 1971 was successful. Was terminated on site and disposed of without incident. Of the 15 children recovered from the facility, O4O was the only one to demonstrate anomalous properties. The others were administered amnestics and placed in Foundation-observed foster care. Interviews with staff at the school revealed that they are unaware of Hart's prior history or any contact with Foundation operations. They were administered amnestics and put under a 6-month communications monitor. No relapses were recorded. See Operation Tatzelworm after action report for complete event record. Addendum 01. O4O is currently allowed custody of the following O4O-1 instances. Stroke 1A, symbiotic organism capable of changing size, shape, colour, and texture in reaction to its environment. Excuse me. Subject served as outer clothing, similar to a jacket or sweater, and absorbs nutrients from O4O's bloodstream. Subject was recovered alongside O4O, and genetic testing reveals that the subject shares the majority of its genetic makeup with the common house cat. Oh, God. 1C, spherical organism capable of flight by means of rubbery bladders filled with lighter than air gas mixture. Entity has 11 limbs, terminating in opposable digits, and a complex respiratory system capable of replicating a wide variety of musical patterns. Oh. Stroke 1J, quadrupedal organism covered in thick coat of pink and blue fur. Entity has no eyes, a broad mouth with blunt teeth, and is capable of climbing up vertical surfaces, occasionally used by O4O as a means of transport. And all I can think of is the Cheshire Cat, but as a battle mount. Brian, why did you do this to me? What the fuck is this SCP either? Addendum 02. The following excerpt is dated 2008, shortly after O4O's initial containment and orientation settings. Dr. Abernathy. Good morning, 40. O4O. Good morning, Miss Abernathy. Sounds like you're getting over your cold. I'm glad. Can I ask you a few questions before we start today's lesson? Yeah. Can you tell me about your parents? Mr. Green said I don't have any. Can you tell me more about Mr. Green then? Footnote, investigation during Operation Tatzelworm confirmed that had been operating under the name Henry Green since at least 1982. He was nice, but he wasn't very good at talking. He would always talk like this. But there wasn't a lot of the time. Most of the time it was the nurses looking after us. And what they do for you? Oh, they'd play games with us and teach us things, and sometimes they would make us wear these dumb helmets and sit quiet for a long time. Sometimes they'd put a movie on for us if we behaved. If we were bad, they would lock us in our rooms. Can you tell me anything else? They always served us peas for dinner. I hate peas, so I gave mine to 5, because she liked peas, but I think green beans are better. Addendum 03, 2009. O4O successfully reanimated the deceased human body during testing, using 3 specimens of brown rat as a required living component. Resultant subject retained no memories of previous life and was judged to be of approximate mental capacity of a human toddler. O4O was highly distressed by the event and refused further testing for the next 3 weeks. Well, apparently the Elric brothers got it wrong. Yet they just needed 3 rats. That's all they needed. No. Good God, talking about the unnecessary research costing an arm and a leg. Welcome back, Lily. I'm guessing sleep has evaded you. That's what you've done, a sleep redeem. Okay, so that's not done. Sorry to hear that. That's really, really sucky when that happens. Okay, so next up we can send those points back, those points back as well. We're going to doing a tail, then we're going to do 3,000. I know what these are like. Oh, 3,000's a big one. 3,000 is a very big one. I'm about halfway through as well. What I think I will do is I will read this part of the Capius. Oi! Stop it. Stop eating it. Capius, I will order a spray bottle. Why, Ride? Why? Smash dem legs. And you know, they'd be a very loud lover. And thank everyone, be very, very thankful that I cannot do a Kermit impression. Everyone be very thankful I can't do a Kermit impression. Deeply impressed you said smash. Hey, look. I'm a monster fucker. Oh, God. Yeah, one thing I might do is I will put the SCP, the next SCP thing on pause, and wherever it's gone, just put that on pause. And what I will do is I will read this tale, then I will read 3,000, and then I will, if we've got time, read the rest of the Antimemetics department tales, and then we'll see where we are after that. But Kermit, though. But them legs, though. You'll say some positive things about you. Lily, you're a wonderful person. Your dedication to the things that interest you is impressive. And it's always a really, really good thing having you around here. Your presence is greatly appreciated. Introductory Antimemetics. Junior researcher Kim's been working for the Foundation for all of 4 hours and he feels pulverized, as if an anvil were dropped on his head in that first introductory lecture. It's lunchtime and he's found a corner so far back in the cafeteria, nobody bothers him, where he can chew and swallow non-anomalous food, drink apocalyptically strong coffee. Where can I get some of that coffee? Makes you happy? Good. Good, I'm glad. And digest the hard lessons of the morning. On his Foundation-provided phone, he pages fretfully through the few SCP files for which he has clearance. Most of them have to be jokes. That's how they read. Like very bad, dark, frightening jokes. Coffee. Kim's one of 11 junior researchers in a new intake, and the other 10 are sitting in a separate group at a separate table, chatting animatedly to one another. There are some instructors here and there, munching sandwiches. Other than them, the cafeteria, large enough to seat 200 people or more, is deserted. To Kim, that seems odd. Site 41 is large, 3 skulking buildings with significant basement space, buried casually in the forests of central Colorado. Where is everybody? A man in a grey suit walks into the cafeteria, makes eye contact with Kim and strides purposely over. The man's suit is sharp enough to cut. He wears a tie pin and a platinum wristwatch as big as a brick. He looks badly misplaced. Site 41 is a working site. There's training, education, research, development, analysis, and even containment of the very few safe SCPs going on here. Executives shouldn't ever be here, so what is he? A lost exec trying to find the helipad? Or a researcher or instructor dressing for the job he wants, not the job he has? Hell of a first day, the man says, holding a hand out. Alistair Gray, with an E. Kim, says Kim. Paul Kim. Good to meet you. What accent is that, if you don't mind me asking? Kim blinks. New York, he says. I'm from New York. Are you the site director? You seem on edge. Well, that figures, doesn't it? Kim asks. You must know how that intro goes. It's like an atom bomb to the ego. I just had almost everything I know overturned. It turns out I've spent my entire adult life being protected from dangerous knowledge, as if the whole outside world is a ball pit for under sevens. Stepping out of that has been humiliating to start with. And he thinks again. Hey, what do you do here exactly, if you don't mind me questioning? You didn't answer mine, Gray says. Of course I did, Kim says. I'm from... And then he just stops, his train of thought running off the end of the tracks into air. It's on the tip of his tongue to answer the answer to Gray's question, but he can't get the words out. That's weird, he says, shaking his head. At this point, he also notices that Gray isn't wearing his badge. This could be an honest mistake, albeit an extremely serious one, but surely execs don't get to the executive level without being scrupulously correct in everything they do. Who are you? Kim asks again. Your life story was fascinating. What? You spoke 4 languages, Gray tells him. 1 now, and soon 0. Too huge an intellect to specialise, your education was a fusion of biochemistry and comparative literature. You felt as if you'd die if you couldn't find more foreign thoughts to cram into your head. You've been all over the world, hungry, and every country you've ever been to was like landing on another planet. You toy with anthropology, there's too much world for one human race to ever understand, let alone one human. There's too much human race. We should pare it down. Kim nods. Would you excuse me for just 1 second? He gets up and hurries to another table, to the instructor whom he met earlier that day. Where Kim gets close to her, he feels a kind of staticky sensation building up. He tries to shake her shoulder and succeeds in moving it a little, but it's like reaching through tar. Hey, there's a problem. There's an intruder. I think it might be an SCP. Doc, look at me. Hello? She doesn't react. He tries to gaggle of fellow newcomers as well, but they keep chattering and hypothesizing, oblivious to him shouting and clapping in their ears. Hey, people, listen to me. No. He looks back. Gray has stood up and started moving towards him, still with that confident smile, and there's definitely something wrong with him now because he's visible through the tables, like an augmented reality holo projector jammed inside Kim's eyeball. Kim realizes with a stab of fear that he can even see Gray when he blinks. His eyelids close, but Gray is still there, an apparition in what for all of Kim's life has been totally personal, private darkness. The only way he can avoid seeing Gray is to turn away, and even then he feels a radioactive prickling in the back of his eyeballs. Kim tries to phone one of the newbies. The phone in the newbie's pocket rings, and other than that, nothing happens. Nobody reacts. That doesn't make sense, Kim says. Do you remember your father? Gray says. I never knew my father, Kim says, edging away. Mum raised me. Gray's white smile is a fixture. These people loved your perspective. They were going to put you into work on anomalous anti-memes, but they don't remember you exist. You don't exist. Kim says, mainly to himself, there aren't any dangerous SCPs on this site. It's a safe site, so either you're not dangerous or nobody knows you exist. If nobody knows you exist, then that means you're either brand new or you're... What's an anti-meme? Hell of a first day. Gray says, are you sentient? Kim asks. You seem on edge, Gray says. Kim bolts. He exits the cafeteria, turns the corner and runs 10 or 11 paces down the corridor to where there's an elevator. He stabs the down button and waits. The elevator door is highly polished, reflective. Kim catches sight of a face in the mirrored surface and he falls over the shock because it's a face he has never seen before, and it's apparently his own. Jesus! Oh no, he babbles. What the hell? What the hell? So up for Baldur's Gate 3, I should continue with Altair. I'm up for Baldur's Gate 3 if you want to do it. But if you are gripped by the Altair thing, I don't mind sitting out this one. It's entirely up to you. I'm up for either. Gray comes around the corner, still only strolling, just as the elevator cracks open. Kim dives in and punches the lowest floor, basement level 8. It's instinctive, although he could rationalise the decision in retrospect. You're up for a co-op? Awesome. Then co-op we shall do. Also, you might want to check Vortex because it had an update. Well, at least it did for me today. He can't just get in his car and drive. It's better if Gray stays on the site than if he's set loose in rational reality. And to do that, it's better if Kim retreats to the lowest, darkest corner of the site for which he has access, and then waits for Gray, and then locks all the doors behind them and waits to die. The elevator starts descending, and the apparition of Gray, visible through doors and floors, disappears upwards, shrinking with distance and perspective, but still smiling broadly at Kim. Kim paces in the elevator. I don't remember what my face looks like. It said it had eaten all my secondary languages, but I don't remember learning anything other than English. So it's eating my memories. It's consuming information. I can't contact anybody directly, which means I'm on my own. I'm not trained for this. He hammers his head once against the elevator wall and stares at his shoes. But I don't know what. What if I've been trained, but I don't remember my training anymore? What if I've been working here for years and I only think this is my first day? What if I've met this thing before? What if everyone inside has met it multiple times and nobody remembers? Is this what an anti-meme is? Kim remembers the near empty cafeteria and miles of totally unoccupied corridors and vacant office and lab space. Maybe it's not just eating my memories. Maybe it eats people whole, removes them completely from history. Maybe it's been haunting the site for years and that's why the site's so empty, because it's nearly finished exterminating us all. Excuse me. I need to get help. I need to warn somebody. How? I can't talk to people. I can't phone them. I should write an SCP. But surely someone's already thought of that. He pulls his phone out, pulls out the listing, nearly 10,000 SCP entries, 100 of them are tagged Antimemetics alone. Kim clears his mind. Gray with an E. Grey 4739. SCP-4739. Object class, Cater. Special containment procedures. I'm disregarding the format because time is a factor. If you're reading this, then you've already been isolated from the Foundation at large. Attempts to signal for help are futile. You are now inside 4739's gullet. After ingestion prior to digestion, you need to get to lab S041B08053 as soon as possible and continue the research until you find a way to stop or kill Gray before it kills you. Don't read the rest until you're in the elevator. Description. At that moment, the elevator doors open at basement level 8. Alistair Gray is waiting, still smiling disarmingly. He steps forward. Desperate, Kim hurls his phone overarm at the creature's forehead. It's a solid chunk of metal and it's a dead hit. Gray reels backwards and cracks his skull against the wall. By the time he recovers, Kim is out of sight, herring away down the left corridor, just echoing fading footsteps on concrete. 2 45-degree turns and room 53 is in sight. The door at the farthest end. It looks like a submarine bulkhead. Kim spots the keypad from way out. 4 digits. He tries 4739 and it works first time. The bulkhead mechanism takes agonizing seconds to open up. Come on, come on, come on. Do you remember your mother? He hears Gray calling down the corridor. I never knew my parents. I was an orphan. Kim hisses under his breath. For a split second he wonders what Gray might really mean by that, but he doesn't have time to dwell on it. The bulkhead opens. Kim slides in and pulls it closed behind him, locking the mechanism up again as if that'll buy him even 1 second. Lab inside is sizable, windowless of course, and stacked to the ceiling with a jumble of equipment which Kim hardly recognises. There are pieces of thick shattered glass underfoot. In the corner there's a computer terminal locked. Kim unlocks it and there's the same entry waiting for him. Is the company got an update? Ooh. Description. 4739 is a powerful, slow-acting antimemetic kill agent, taking the appearance of a male Caucasian business executive calling itself Alistair Gray. 4739 is attracted to dense clusters of organically stored information, essentially extremely knowledgeable, complicated, interesting people. 4739 isolates its victim from the outside world by enveloping them in an antimemetic field, which makes it impossible for the victim or anything done by the victim to be perceived or remembered. 4739 then consumes the victim's memory and knowledge until they become vegetative and die. This process takes between 15 minutes and 2 hours and is described as being like Alzheimer's disease in fast forward. 4739 is not believed to be sentient, although it imitates the behaviour of a sentient being to the extent that it can appear sentient to the inattentive. Its victims are able to move and act freely, since it's impossible to escape once caught or to signal for help. Communications such as written notes, graffiti and electronic mail do get sent and persist in reality, but 4739's effect spreads with each message, making it impossible for an external observer to perceive the message until such time as 4739 catches them too. The dev had an arachnophobia mode. Oh, nice. No more bunker spiders. Just something even worse instead. The SCP entry, which you are currently reading, is created and maintained by victims of 4739 because it's only visible to victims of 4739. If you're reading this SCP entry, 4739 has caught you. You are now isolated from the Foundation at large and constitute a net effective Foundation of 1. You have between 15 minutes and 2 hours to reach Site 41, Basement Level 8, Laboratory 053. Familiarise yourself with the existing research and continue this research until you find a way of contain or decommission 4739, or more likely, die. If your field of expertise is not related to antimemetic containment, we sincerely apologise and advise you to start learning fast. 4739 has consumed, and it's a tally chart of, are those made up of 5? There's 5, so 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, 65, 70, 75, 80 Foundation researchers since we started counting on August the 3rd, 2013. If you're reading this entry for the first time, please add a mark. We estimate at least 50% of victims never make it as far as this database entry, so the true victim count is more than twice this figure. But how do I kill it? Kim screams. He scrolls and scrolls through the research, which is chaotic and haphazardly arranged, because nobody has found the spare seconds to sort it out. There are dozens of separate lines of research, contributed in patchwork by a succession of victims, all ending with variations on the same file line. If I'm going to try X, if you're reading this, X didn't work and I'm dead, which means the appropriate X is a dead end, and then you have to think of something else. He reads, nobody succeeded in physically engaging with Grey. Nobody can stall it, evade it, slow it down, reason with it, or redirect it to some other target. People have tried poisoning their memories with indigestible ideas, drip-feeding their memories to Grey to slow them down, replacing their memories faster than Grey can eat them, and force-feeding Grey too many memories at once to overfeed him and blow him up. They've tried committing suicide by class A amnestic overdose. None of it worked. More than 100 people, most of them apparently possessing doctorates, have slid into the maw of this thing, fought briefly, and with a greater or lesser degree of dignity, died. There are no remaining untried threads. I'm fucked, Kim concludes. He glances up. Gray's not in the room yet, but Kim can see him strolling down the last stretch of corridor. He's a totally intangible being. Physical obstructions are irrelevant to him. He can't be hurt. Kim clutches the pocket where he used to keep his phone. Wait a second. He scrolls again. He finds 3 or 4 sad, desperate wretches who died confronting Gray physically. Combat knife and Glock. Baseball bat. Kim looks up and checks the room. Sure enough, the bat's there, rolled under a table. One man, an LD botanist far out of his depth, said he was just going to try whatever he could think was the heaviest. That explains the shattered CRT television and the light layer of thick glass on the floor near the bulkhead. There's even CCTV footage of the botanist's attempt. He accomplishes literally nothing. Grey is a holographic ghost, and the CRT drops right through him, imploding where it hit at Grey's feet. The botanist spends the rest of the video running time huddled in the corner, gradually losing his mind while Grey watches placidly. The difference being, Kim runs with his eyes boggling, a phone is a solid brick full of information, and before me, nobody tried using information as a missile. Kim searches for the experiments, several of them scattered, where the victim tried to divert Grey to a different data source. The general idea seemed to be to overload Grey by pointing him at something containing too much information. The internet, or the terabit feed from a live particle accelerator experiment, or a stack of hard drives containing the first few quadrillion binary digits of pi. But nobody could find a way to distract Grey's attention. Prominently placed screens full of data he would ignore. Data beamed at him electromagnetically via radio or laser had no effect. Excuse me. And nobody could figure out a way to tunnel the information in through the victim's mind as extra memories. It was written off as impossible. Close the line of investigation. I'm sorry, but the thought has just now occurred. If yeeting a phone at him worked, what would happen if you download the entire of the internet onto a set of SD drives, loaded those into a machine gun, and just fired the SD drives rapid fire at him? Surely that would do it. And I hate the fact that my brain came up with that idea. Micro SD SMG. See, Callie doesn't want me to punish my throat. Let me just bring that up while I'm on a slight break from this. Roll 6.
Honestly, I'm already big times.
Yeah, because it's not here because it's a... Oh, no. Oh, no. Well, I guess I'm going to try what one of these abominations is.
Pineapple?
Yeah. Launch a Nokia at him through a bazooka. Just pawn can it with what you can. Yep. Mark, you know what I have? Vanilla cinnamon ice cream. Ooh. Ooh. We know how that is. Sounds yummy. And thank you for your contribution to the Mock Entry Challenge. What is this? Oh, why is it? Why are they? Oh god, they're in packs of 2. Oh god. There's 8 packs of 2. Oh, fuck. It is. Space between your legs is nice as well. Actually, if you need info over a dinky laptop, just that thing trying to boot up should get him. Just throw at him like a discus. Go Xena Warrior Princess on him. What the donkey fuck is this thing?
What?
It looks like a hot dog biscuit.
Hmm?
Look. The one you're talking about is the 10-year-old one. Oh. Oh.
Come on, describe it, babe.
That is like a trough of Satan's cum between two stale biscuits that's had the word pineapple shouted at it. Oh. Oh. Mm. Oh. At least they're honest about it being artificially flavored. Pineapple does not taste like this. Mm. Mm. Oh. Oh, God. The worse the flavor, the worse the palate cleanser, but also the worse the flavor, the more palate cleanser needed. That's another one of them. I swear when it lands on this again, I'm just going to have both biscuits at once. Mm. Oh. So dry as well. Like, even this little, bit in the middle is supposed to be jam or something. It's got no moisture to it. It's just sadness.
Just sticky?
It's not even sticky, it's just sadness. It is the cum that you shoot out after you have the most depressing wank of your life. Oh. Mm. Mm-hmm. Oh, that's bad. Thank you for the hydration reminder, lid. I need it. Why are you talking about my ex? The little remains after a mostly dry orgasm. When you're trying to do it, it's been 10 solid minutes already, and then when you finally go, you get a little dust cloud. Oh. 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 Ugh. Also, right, if that's comparable to your ex, I definitely don't want to meet him. Ugh. The hard drives Kim finds are right there on the workbench next to the computer. The half-rack unit, a cuboidal block of metalwork as big and heavy as a bowling ball. One of the most ineffective conceivable melee weapons. The worst kind of orgasm, yeah. That's when you get to that point, just go, oh shit, that didn't feel worth it. Kim snatches up the 3 longest pieces of Ethernet cable he can find and starts plaiting them into a chain. Then he remembers who he is and where he is and what his responsibilities are. He goes to the computer to the SCP entry, adds himself to the last victim tally, and writes up exactly what he's about to do. Quiet, because he might not be the last one, and the world needs to know this didn't work. Gray comes through the lab bulkhead to find most of the equipment in the room toppled onto the floor. To create room for the black and silver drive array that Paul Kim is whirling about his head on a 2-meter chain made of platinum network cable. It makes a low thrumming sound as it whirls. Gray is not intelligent enough to stop moving forwards, and it catches the array directly in the side of his head, rack mount point first, like a morning star. Gray absorbs a few trillion digits of the impact, but it isn't enough. There's a green snap of light and a noise like a subway train short-circuiting, and Gray's a pile in the corner, his head caved in and the drive array partly demolished in pieces around him. Kim decides that history can fill in whatever quip it likes best. It was chewing its way up the Antimemetics division hierarchy, Wheeler tells him in the aftermath. It was only a matter of time until it bit down somebody dangerous. Congratulations on demonstrating a basic level of competence when it counted. Dozens of others couldn't. Kim still feels rattled, but the shock is dissipating, faster than he'd expected. Marion Wheeler, it turns out, is the Antimemetics division chief. She is Kim's new boss. I want to say it was dumb luck, Kim says. I want to say that I just threw my phone. It was instinct. It was muscle memory. It was my first day and I just got lucky as hell. I want to say those things, but I'm sitting here and turning those statements over and none of them would be true, would they? Wheeler waits expectantly and says nothing. You're not my new boss, Kim says. You're just my boss. This isn't my first day at all. I've been working here for, well, it must be over a decade, right? I think I've been a professional antimemetics researcher since at least the mid-2000s. It's just that the first thing Gray ate was my memories of everything past the first day. And even then, I see very little luck in what happened today, Wheeler says. Instinct and muscle memory are just deep forms of training. Like I said, a basic form of competence. An ability to piece your own life and all of your past knowledge back together faster than nearly anybody else. This is what we try to drill into you. And sometimes, thankfully, it takes. He's hidden the enhanced whole Morning Star! Oh my god. If anyone has seen the Lucifer TV program with Tom Ellis playing Lucifer, he needs to change his name to Lucifer Porning Star. Because it fits. This isn't even the first time we've had this conversation, Kim continues. There have been other incidents with other SCPs with amnestic powers. You sat there and watched me put myself back together before. And it hasn't gotten old yet, Wheeler admits with something which might be approaching a smirk. How long does it usually take for me to recover? A few months, Wheeler says. But if you want the honest truth, people in this division are not as competent as day one as they'll ever be. You come to the job firing on all cylinders or not at all. The rest is just fine-tuning and chemistry. So what you're actually saying is you don't care about my mental state and you need me back at work now, Kim says. Wheeler nods. I need an updated SCP entry, just to begin with. Excuse me. I need you to nail down the model for Gray's predatory pattern and exactly how you defeated it. I want you to work out what it did with the bodies, incinerated, disintegrated, or just left them lying around the site in rotting, perpetually cloaked heaps. And I need countermeasures for when it comes back. It's not dead? Wait, Kim says. I think I know this one. It's coming back to me. Ideas don't die. Yeah. What the fuck? That was a trip. That was an utter trip. QNTM is my favourite SCP author on the planet. I can see why. As great it was. Next three are just as good. I'm gonna get the names for those. There. Right. SCP-3000. By order of the Overseer Council, the following files describe a Class 8 cognito-hazardous entry and is Level 5/3000 classified. Unauthorized access is forbidden. 3000. Yep, I've got those down, thank you. Input Level 5/3000 security credentials. Credentials approved. Item number, SCP-3000. Object class, Thalmiel. Site responsible, Site 151. Director, Kerry Eckelkamp. Research head, David Bell. Assigned task force, SCPF Emitra. Level 5 is 3000 classified. Special containment procedures. The area containing SCP-3000, currently a region of the Bay of Bengal, roughly 3,000 kilometers in diameter, is to be routinely patrolled by Foundation naval vessels. Under no circumstances are civilians allowed to attempt deep-sea exploration or diving efforts in the quarantined area. Individuals believed to have contacted 3000 are to be contained, quarantined, and processed at Site 151. Individuals affected by the anomalous properties of 3000 are to be held in containment indefinitely. Buckle up this apathetic fish business, KP. The Foundation submarine, SCPF Emitra, is to monitor the location of the foremost section of 3000, currently located within the Ganges Fan, roughly 0.7 kilometers beneath the bay. The Emitra is tasked with carrying out the ATSAC protocol, and staffing regulations on board the vessel are subject to guidelines of that protocol. For a full description of the ATSAC protocol, see Addendum 3000.2. Excuse me. There's currently no known cure for exposure to 3000. As such, affected individuals should be contained and quarantined for further evaluation. Individuals stationed above the SCP-F emitter are not permitted to leave the vessel except for the purposes of carrying out necessary procedures of the ATSAC protocol. Individuals who leave the vessel without proper authorization are to be considered lost. Excuse me. Under no circumstances should any individual interact with 3000 without authorization. Description: 3000 is a massive aquatic serpentine entity strongly resembling a giant moray eel. The full length of 3000 is impossible to determine, but is hypothesized to be between 600 and 900 kilometers. The head of 3000 measures roughly 2.5 meters in diameter, and sections of the body proper are as large as 10 meters in diameter. 3000 is typically a sedentary creature, only moving its head in response to certain stimuli or during feeding. The majority of its body is located in and around the Ganges Fan, and rarely moves at all, specifically within several canyons throughout the region. 3000 is a carnivorous, and despite its sedentary nature, is capable of moving quickly to dispatch prey. Despite its size, it's hypothesized that 3000 does not require sustenance to maintain its biological functions. Footnote of, due to this, 3000's internal biology is believed to be similarly anomalous. While 3000 excretes a thin layer of viscous dark grey substance classed as Y909, see Addendum 3000.2 below, through its skin as it consumes prey, the end result of its digestive processes is currently unknown. 3000 is a Class 8 cognito-hazard entity. Direct observation of 3000 may cause severe mental alterations in viewers. Individuals who directly observe 3000, as well as any individuals within an uncertain distance of 3000, experience inexplicable head pain, paranoia, general fear and panic, and memory loss or alteration. The following is a log from Site 151's historical records, written by Dr. Eugene Getz, about initial discovery of 3000 and the effects felt therein. I can't believe the fish prison is what reignited my faith in this generation of SCP writers. I know I did 7000 a while ago, and I really enjoyed that. The unease was felt throughout the entire crew as we descended on that first night. Whether this was due to uncertainty of what we would discover or something more sinister, I would not speculate. As we continued to descend, Williams began sweating profusely. When asked about it, he could not respond, stating that he thought he was missing something he could not deduce. As our descent continued, he began to act more and more erratically, at one point addressing myself as Darlene, and expressing uncertainty as to the task he was assigned to handle. Similar feelings were expressed by other members of the crew, but Williams felt it the most. His memetic resistance was by far the lowest of us all, but he was a biologist, not a memeticist. When we finally came into contact with the entity, he began whimpering and had to be sedated. I remember him muttering the word no over and over again as if in disbelief. He went silent for a while as we approached its head. When I looked back at him, something had gone from his eyes. He did not even so much as blink as we made our final descent. At around 0940 hours, we first observed the head of the entity. The unease was palpable now. Several other crew members complained of feeling hazy and of being uncertain what they were supposed to be doing. Captain Ritter, ever the man's man, wrote it all off as nitrogen intoxication and forced them to continue approaching the entity. When we were within 50 meters, the entity slowly turned to look at us. Even now, as I recall watching this thing coil around in the darkness, I can still hear Williams barking like a mad dog in the rear of the vessel, screaming and flailing, shouting about how he could see it in his head. Perkins and Harrison tried to restrain him, but he got free and smashed his face in against one of the portholes. He hit it so hard he cracked the inner layer of glass. Damage was bad enough we had to surface. We tried to give Williams medical attention, but he was too far gone by that point. He had pulped himself against the glass, and despite the trauma, he still spoke briefly as he lay dying. Nobody recorded it. We didn't think to at the time, but I remember it well enough. He said, "There's nothing, nothing, nothing." By the time we had reached the service several hours later, Williams was dead. At the time, I didn't think much about what he had said, just the ravings of a man gone mad by the depths, I figured. Didn't know any better. But even now, I can still see the eyes of the creature. I see it hanging there in the darkness, illuminated by a light I can't source, and feeling the lingering dread that Williams must have felt the night in the submersible as he was overcome by whatever void that foul thing slithered out of. Discovery. 3000 was discovered in 1971, shortly after 2 Bangladeshi fishing boats and 15 fishermen were reported missing after drifting near the Indian coast. As the country of Bangladesh had only been recently established at the time and had been subject to significant political persecution on the part of Pakistan, this incident received high-profile media attention due to fears it was a result of foreign aggression. Local coastal dispatch units could not locate the missing boats, fueling further media hysteria. Foundation researchers stationed in Calcutta, now Kolkata, drew similarities between this disappearance and another incident 2 years earlier. A thorough search aided by Marriott Paschler counters revealed the location of the 2 boats, as well as an unknown, previously undiscovered mass deep below the surface of the Bay of Bengal. Further investigation by Foundation divers discovered the existence of 3000. The area was quickly secured, and current containment procedures were put in place in April of 1972. The ATSAC protocol was adapted in October 1998. God, I was alive then. Addendum 3000.1, Initial Contact Exploration Log. Note, the following is a transcript of audio logs during initial deep-sea diver contact with 3000. Until this point, no Foundation diver had come within 300 meters of 3000. Divers were tasked with assessing the creature and determining the source of the thick grey fluid that they observed floating around its head. Dive team was composed of 3 members of MTF Orion 9 Kingfishers, led by MTF 09 Alpha. Launch point was through the airlock of the Foundation submarine SCP Stravinsky. All divers were equipped with high-pressure suits as well as front-facing headlamps. Additionally, a tether was connected to MTF 09 Alpha, which was then connected in a T-shape out to both Bravo and Foxtrot. Begin log. Alpha. Alright, Command. We're situated in the airlock. Ready to roll. Command. Confirmed. Go ahead and sound off. Alpha. Orion 9 Alpha check. Orion 9 Bravo check. Command. Alright, man. We're in position about 500 meters from the head of this creature. Make sure your tethers are on good and tight. We don't want any of you getting separated out there. Bravo. What's visibility like down here today, Command? Command. Stand by. About 3 meters. Foxtrot. So it's dark as fuck. Got it. Bravo. Why are we so far out? Command. The size of this thing is hard to comprehend. It's wrapped up in itself in several places. We can't get too close because there's too much body there. The entity hasn't moved in about 3 weeks. Foxtrot. At all? Command. Affirmative. Moves certainly with the currents down there, but nothing more than that. If it weren't for the head movement that was observed by the first submersible team, we probably wouldn't know it was there if it was alive or not. Foxtrot. That's reassuring. Alpha. Alright, tethers are tight. Flood the chamber. Command. Confirmed. Rushing water is heard as the airlock chamber floods. No other sound is heard for several minutes. After some time, the sound of rushing water stops. Alpha. You both good? Bravo. I'm good. Foxtrot. It's fucking cold. Alpha. Hopefully you won't be out for long then. Turn your light, boys. Here we go. All members of the dive team exit the airlock. There's a low mechanical sound as the airlock door closes behind them. A muffled click sound is heard, and the Stravinsky activates its aft floodlights. Foxtrot. Hey, Alpha. Maybe this is a bad time to ask, but I can't remember how to turn on my lamp, and... Alpha. Your lamp is on, Foxtrot. Foxtrot. What? What did you call me? Alpha. Your designation, Mulhaney. Foxtrot. Bravo. I'm Foxtrot, boss. Alpha. Hang on, what are you talking about? Foxtrot. I don't understand what you mean by designation. Alpha. It's your call sign, Bravo. What do you mean? Bravo. Who's Bravo? Alpha. Shit, hang on. I was going to say something. Barry, are you still there? Footnote. 09 Alpha is believed to have been addressing a full member of the command team assigned to SCP-3000, Barry Hughes, who had passed away 2 years prior. Command. Stand by. Go for command. Alpha. Hey, we're having a little trouble out here. I'm not sure who. We seem to have some confusion over designations. I'm not sure exactly where we're going. Foxtrot. Where exactly are we? Keep that thing out of my ocean. Bravo. God, do you guys feel that? I've just got an awful headache. Like needling in my brain. Something Command. Dive team, be advised we believe you may be experiencing some detrimental cognitive effects. Keep moving forward and we'll give you more information as we receive it. Alpha. Noted. Command, be advised that Foxtrot has a terrible headache, I think. Are we going in the right direction? We can't see out here. Command. You're roughly 150 meters from the head of the entity, Alpha. You should be getting a visual soon. Bravo. Command, I don't see anything. Where are we? Alpha. Where are we? Command. We're almost there, Alpha. Dive team, be advised we're picking up movement from the entity on radar. Alpha. Barry, I don't see anything down here. What are we supposed to be looking? Foxtrot. All I can see is darkness. There's a chill, foul wind blowing, pushing me towards a brink I can't see. Alpha. Shut up, shut up, shut up! Command, Bravo is unresponsive. We're pressing immediate cessation of mission. Bravo. Wait a second. Foxtrot. On the edge of nothingness, inches from oblivion, there's a sickness in my mind I know can't be cured. Beyond me is only blackness and a single pair of dark eyes. Alpha. What? What are you saying? Command. Dive team, we're going to pull you back in immediately. We have reason to believe that... Alpha. Barry? Is that you? How can it be? I shoveled the dirt during your... Bravo. I can hear something over here. Alpha. You're light. Get your fucking... Foxtrot. Silence. Only silence. My consciousness coming undone and only. And only. And only. Command. Dive team, something is moving towards you. Repeat, something is moving towards you. Prepare to return to... Alpha. Oh, this is shit. I can't see. How far are we from the... Bravo. It's right there. It's right there. Fuck, what are you both doing? Fuck. Foxtrot. And only the eel remains. Radio silence for 20 seconds. Command. Alpha. Radio silence for 13 seconds. Command. Alpha. Bravo. Foxtrot. Do any of you hear us? Bravo. Unintelligible noise. Command. Oh, thank God. Bravo. You need to speak up. We can't. Bravo. Shh. Radio silence for 10 seconds. Command. Something has bound up the winch between you and us. We can't. Alpha. It's opening its mouth. Bravo. It's so dark. There's... Foxtrot. Where am I? What? Alpha. Barry? How can it be? I shoveled dirt. Bravo. Mulhaney. Swim. Get away. There's only darkness. Swim. Foxtrot. Only. There's suddenly tension in the tether attached to the Stravinsky. 09 Foxtrot radio goes silent. There is the sound of a struggle through the other two radios. Command. Foxtrot. Foxtrot. Alpha. Bravo. Talk to me. Stay calm. What happened? Bravo. It ate him. Fuck, he's gone. It took him whole. God damn it, Alpha. What are you doing? Alpha. Alpha? Bravo. Cut the fucking goddamn tether, Alpha. It's pulling us in. Alpha. Who? Bravo. Fuck. Alpha. Total radio silence for 30 seconds. Tether attached to Stravinsky is pulled free from its moorings and disappears. Command. Alpha. Bravo. Do you copy? Radio silence for 5 seconds. Alpha. Bravo. Do you copy? Bravo. This is Bravo. I'm floating in the dark. I can see shapes moving through the fog, but they're hard to make out. I cut my tether. Alpha wouldn't... I think he's gone. I don't see his light anymore. Command. Acknowledged. We're coming to... Bravo. Hang on a second. Just let me think for a second. Cognition. This thing. It doesn't work around it. Your brain can't form thought. It hurts. It's like dying. And... Bravo. Do you have eyes on the entity? It's in my head, guys. Coiled up in there like a snake. And something about it is caustic. I can see it. Just in front of me. It's not doing anything. It isn't moving. It's hanging there. With its mouth open. I think it's finished eating. A fluid seeping through the skin around its head about a meter back. Just looking at this stuff is making me... like the room is spinning. Okay. Movie pause. Paw. Paw. Good boy. My head isn't working right. There's an abortion under the floorboards and another in the... Wait, this is wrong. That wasn't me. Who said that? I'm going to collect a sample. Hang on. Bravo, we're going to send out a crew to get you. Just hold on. Oh no, don't do that. Not. You have to be trained to not feel the things I'm feeling. Otherwise it will get into you. Maybe it will anyway. Who knows? It feels like the end of the world down here, fellas. My heart is really going off the charts. And I think I'm dying. I got a sample. I'll attach it to one of those little balloons and let it float up. You'll be able to get it later. Don't spend too much time around that stuff. It doesn't... Your mind, Bravo. I think I'm dying. I'm dying. I know I'm dying. This is it. Just want to get away from here. You know, it occurs to me. Don't send anyone else out here. It's so dark. Bravo. Over the next half hour, the SCP Stravinsky attempted to approach 09 Bravo with no success. Command continued to attempt to communicate with 09 Bravo. Bravo grew increasingly unintelligible, before eventually going completely silent. Bravo's radio stayed active over the next 3 days, and intermittent breathing could be heard until the radio ceased functioning. Okay. Addendum 3000.2, ATSAC Protocol. Top secret, SCP Foundation official documents 151 Hollister ATSAC Protocol. This protocol dictates certain interactions with the Class 8 cognitohazard entity, SCP-3000, and is such as a Level 5/3000 classified. Preface. The following protocol was developed in conjunction with researchers on Site-29 and Site-50, as well as researchers stationed at Site-151. Some sections may have been redacted to remove material above its classification. Adherence to this protocol is required for all personnel assigned to Site-151, as well as all personnel assigned to the SCPF emitter. Next one, just remember the undead bits from Black Cauldron movie. Surprised you remember that movie at all. Abstract. The 151 Hollister ATSAC protocol has been developed and implemented to create a strategy for the management of the Y909 chemical compound excreted by 3000. Protocol information. The Y909 compound, originally discovered by the late Dr. Adam Hollister, is a critical component in several modern and experimental amnestic compounds. Specifically, the following amnestics now contain a refined version of the Y909 compound. Black Cauldron. So do I from what I remember of it. Class A 2016 variant, Class D 2016 variant, Class E 2016 variant, Class X 2017 variant, Class XX 2017 variant, redacted, ATSAC class experimental compound, Foster class experimental compound, Ellipse class experimental compound. The inclusion of the Y909 compound has shown a marked increase in the stability and long-term effectiveness of the aforementioned amnestics. Overall, amnestics utilizing Y909 break down 78% slower than their standard counterparts in cold storage, and 52% slower than their standard counterparts at room temperature. Additionally, individuals administered as an antimnestic regimen utilizing 909 show a marked increase in suggestibility, memory clearance, and a significant decrease in additional side effects, such as nausea, vomiting, bowel distress, blurred vision, headaches, insomnia, heart damage, and others. Individuals treated with these amnestics express significantly fewer intrusive memories as those without Y909, and some individuals exposed to experimental compounds expressing no intrusive memories whatsoever, even at the 5 and 10 year marks. John Hurt's Great Little Honking books are pretty good as well. John Hurt was just a very good actor. Due to the effectiveness of these treatments with the addition of Y909, the continued inclusion of this compound is essential to modern Foundation amnestic applications. Reliance on the continued use of Y909 necessitates its collection for the foreseeable future, as a synthetic version of the compound has not yet been discovered. As such, the protocol dictates the way the compound is collected off of 3000, and the way that personnel to enact with 3000. Below is a brief framework of the procedure, and detailed information can be found in the full ATSAC brief. Members of MTF Epsilon 20, Night Fishermen, are to prepare a subject for deliverance to the feeding site. What the fuck is that sentence? One individual D-class subject is to be administered a sedative and equipped with a high-pressure diving suit. The subject is then to be tethered to an underwater ROV with the aft airlock. The airlock is to be flooded, and the subject is to be towed by the ROV towards the feeding site. Upon reaching the feeding site, the ROV is to disconnect its tether and return to the emitter. Throughout this stage, the SCPF emitter should monitor 3000's position and adjust course if the entity begins to move away from the feeding site. Mission Command will provide additional instructions during this phase if necessary. Personnel on board the emitter are to monitor 3000 during feeding sessions. During this time, no personnel are permitted to leave the emitter without authorization from Mission Command. At a point of the total consumption of prey, 3000 will begin to excrete Y909 near the foremost section of its body. Specialized teams of deep-sea divers are to exit the emitter through the airlock and approach 3000. Collection of Y909 must take place during 3000's digestive period, which is currently believed to be roughly 2.5 hours after consumption of prey. Teams must return to launch craft before the end of this period. During this period, the typical effects of 3000 are less severe, though Command should continue to monitor these teams for damage to their cognition. After collection of Y909 is complete, personnel are to transfer the collected substance to secure containers before returning to the surface. The mission administrator on board the emitter is to monitor the substance throughout transport. Addendum 3000.3 Psychological Evaluation. Note, on 09, Level 3 researcher Venkataraman Krishnamurthy attempted to exit out the emitter's aft airlock without diving equipment, but was quickly restrained and the airlock cycle aborted. Despite having a CRV of 26 and having not displayed any previous signs of depression or suicidal attempt prior to this assignment aboard the emitter, Krishnamurthy was interviewed by staff clinical psychologist Dr. Anand Maneva to acquire better understanding of 3000's potential effect on his psyche. Begin log. Manava. Hi Venkat, how are you feeling? Krishnamurti. Unwell. That's what I hear. Do you want to talk about what happened today? Krishnamurti signed. We don't have to if you don't want to. We can talk about something else. I'm tired, Anand. I understand. This assignment has been stressful on all of... No, it's not. No, it isn't the stress. I've done this before. I've been on... I don't actually know if I've done this before. You have. I don't remember it. Any of it. I've been getting these out-of-context feelings, like my body reacting to reflexes I didn't know it had. Everything's so disconnected and try to keep it together. I'm just tired. Weird, Cape. When did you start feeling this way? How long have we been down here? I don't remember. I don't know when. Honestly, don't. I wish I could tell you something more than that, but I have nothing. I look to that place in my mind, there's just something else there, or sometimes nothing at all. What do you mean something else? I've been having other people's dreams, Anand. I see faces I don't recognize. Places I know I've never been. Or maybe I have, I don't know. How can I know what's real and what's not when I can't trust my own mind? Well, maybe I can help you with that, Venkat. We can go over things and think you've forgotten, and I can... Don't patronize me. I know you felt it, Anand. Your mind gets hazy. Part of you starts to slip. Your memories go faint, fading in and out until they're gone, or worse, replaced. You see paths that aren't yours, experiences you never lived. You start to become other people, or nobody at all. Venkat, please, I'm just trying to help. Do you even know my work before we met? Come to think of it, I don't even remember how we met. I know your name, I know that you're a psychologist, but are we friends? Are we brothers? I don't know how I know you. We work together, I know that. I have that, I still have that, but other things they come and go. I don't know if I'm married or have children. Footnote. Dr. Krishnamurti was married twice and has 2 sons and 3 daughters between 2 marriages. I see. And that isn't the worst of it. I know this is happening to me. I know that my mind is coming apart. There's something else in there too. Something rising out of the smoke of my smouldering consciousness. That eel. The eel? I don't remember my mother. I can hear her voice, but I can't remember her face. I can't remember how she smelled or how she... What do I remember as she told me about gods? There is a god called an Anastasia, a serpent, the king of serpents, said to lie between Vishnu and the cosmos. 6-headed snake god. Isn't that something? Yes, I am familiar. Of course, I'm sorry, I forgot. I don't remember much, but I do remember she told me about how they would linger past the end. Gaze upon darkness past the end of time. She said that when the light of the universe had gone out, all that would be left is them. I've worked my entire life for the Foundation, so as much as I can recall, I've struggled to build my name and my reputation and done everything I can to do to leave something, anything. Some kind of mark that says I was here, but what is it? I believe that 3000 is Anastasia. I believe that this aberration, this treachery against cognition, is a result of us being in the presence of a god. Not just a god, but a god who exists across all time, all at once, and even beyond. Maybe some part of the nothingness beyond the edge of time is part of them as well. Maybe it acts as a conduit, some kind of... Venkat, please, we're scientists. No, let me finish. In defiance of the nothingness that comes after this, all of this, there is Anastasia. There is a chance that my memories might live on, that I might be remembered like the memories that I've seen beating through me. I don't have proof of this. But when I looked into its eyes and saw what it showed me, I was afraid. I'm merely a mediocre man, Anand. This was a fear that I have refused to acknowledge for years, a fear of irrelevance, that no one will know who I am when I die, afraid of being forgotten, afraid of my life being meaningless, afraid of being alone, afraid of dying. There's a terror within me that I cannot reconcile, and I won't lie to you and tell you that the Maw of the Naga does not terrify me as well. But between this and the infinite dark I've gazed into, I've made up my mind. End log. Addendum 3000.4, Instant Video and Audio Log. After 2 days of containment within a secure holding cell on board the Amita, orders were received to lift the hold order on Dr. Krishnamurti in accordance to the terms of the ATSAC protocol. 3 hours after Dr. Krishnamurti was released from his holding cell, the following incident took place. Begin log. 02-1933. Krishnamurti stands near the entrance to the Amita's aft airlock. Subject is facing away from the nearest camera. 02-1958. Proximity alarm is triggered. Exterior floodlights activate. 3000 is still not visible. Command is alerted and Amita's engines engage, preparing for evasive maneuvers. 2:20:06. Krishnamurti is startled by proximity alarm and begins to appear panicked. Subject continues to look at the entrance of the aft airlock. Subject turns briefly towards the nearest camera and is observed to be weeping. 2:20:21. Krishnamurti slowly approaches aft airlock and opens airlock door. Subject enters airlock and primary access door seals behind the subject. 02:20:27. 57. Interior airlock camera captures Krishnamurthy staring at exterior airlock door for a full 2 minutes, unmoving. After 2 minutes, subject collapses on the ground. 2:21:15. All cameras shudder as primary turbines spin up. 3000 is visible on the radar. Approaching emitter. 3000 is not visible on exterior cameras. 2:26:37. Krishnamurthy stands and approaches diving suit locker. Subject puts on a high-pressure deep-sea diving suit and then moves towards exterior door controls. Subject engages exterior door latch. Interior airlock camera is obscured by rushing water. 2:27:14. Secondary alarm is triggered by airlock breach. Personnel on the bridge attempt to close airlock, but Krishnamurthy has already exited the airlock. 2:27:48. Krishnamurthy hangs in the water behind the outer section of the emitter, illuminated by exterior floodlights. Subject is motionless. 2:28:11. 3000 slowly appears out of the darkness. Krishnamurthy remains motionless. 2:28:29. Exterior cameras shudder as the emitter begins to reverse towards Krishnamurthy. Rescue teams have assembled in the airlock chamber. 2:28:52. 3000 approaches Krishnamurthy. Its mouth begins to open. A emitter sounds horns, but neither 3000 or the subject appear to notice. 2:29:09. 3000 moves to just above Krishnamurthy. Subject appears to look up into the now fully expanded jaw of 3000. Emitter begins to flash external floodlights. Airlock opens. Krishnamurthy. Anand, I was wrong. God save me, it's not. 2:29:21. 3000 strikes and quickly consumes Krishnamurthy. 2:29:45. 3000 disappears into darkness and is no longer visible in exterior cameras. Rescue crews are recalled. Crew begins to initiate ATSAC protocol. End log. Addendum 3000.5. Personal Journal of Dr. Manava. The following excerpts from personal diaries of Dr. Anand Manava. Dr. Manava has kept several journals during his assignment and has reported it is beneficial to counteract the psychological and memory-affecting properties of 3000. 2309-2009. I come to bury Venkat, not to praise him. Psychologically speaking, having your memories affected like his is not a pleasant experience for anyone. I really shouldn't be surprised he chose to relieve himself from having his memories meddled with. After all, it's really alarming. Being briefed on its effects doesn't change the fact that I need to constantly keep tabs on all staff, myself included, and to ground us to reality. I'm supposed to submit a full psychological report now, detailing what's gone wrong, why a staff member turned suicidal, a full analysis of possible ways to prevent this from happening again in the future, the O5 and Site Director Knox, have it reviewed and some new regimen designed to prevent such a travesty from happening again. He was more religious than I am. Right at the end of his life, he was riffing on Anastasia, a primordial Hindu snake god, and rambling about eternity. I'm not going to question the legitimacy of his beliefs and his claims, but it's quite the enigma. I suppose I should consider myself lucky this assignment is relatively benign compared to the previous assignments I've had. I don't think this is a mythical eel. Anomalous, maybe, but not really that extraordinary. It's funny, I spent the last 30 years blocking out everything my father wanted to teach me about Hinduism, and now I'm racking my brains trying to remember anything he said about it. I want to say it's because of the eel, but if I'm being honest with myself, I simply tried to forget all his teachings. Maybe not at the beginning, but certainly by the end. I can barely even remember what he looked like. But I do remember how angry he got when I couldn't remember the names of my grandparents or great uncles. He was desperate to preserve his heritage, and I did everything I could to spite him. On his deathbed, he begged me to perform the traditional last rites after his death. He even wrote the instructions down, but I was so angry at him I tore them up in front of him. I can't even remember why. The only memories I have of him now are how he made me feel. He spent almost 20 years trying to pass down our heritage, and all I have now is anger and hatred and regret. Yes? Can I help you, Cape? Boop. 3009-2009. Site Director Knox gathered the staff this morning for a short morning. After a brief period and laconic eulogies, he took me aside and told me that Venkat's replacement will come in a few weeks, and he has kept no contact with his family. It's likely his belongings will just be disposed of, and are now technically Foundation property. The director indicated that if I want to keep a thing or two from him, I should do so now. His office was relatively unremarkable. His cushy squashed chair cushion, few office toys, and lots of marine biology books I should probably check out someday. The only thing I saw was a statue of Ganesh that stood next to the window. Not fully sure why myself, but he's now sitting on the bookshelf, next to a picture of myself, my wife, and our daughter at the lakeside terrace. It was a pretty unremarkable trip to some tourist trap in Lucknow, but it's really one of the best looking pictures. We're going under again tomorrow. 11/11/2009. All the D-class managed to stay put this week, which is good. Other than that routine depression and memory loss from exposure to 3000, everything was in order. Sometimes I'm a bit envious of them. All they know is they're scooping gunk off some big eel. They don't know its importance, or why it's critical they collect it and how much it helps us. Of course, one saving grace of being on the psychological division of the ATSAC project is the unawareness of its potential effects. I'm aware of what's happening to my psyche. I know I have memories that are being drained. Pieces are being lost right now. I recall images of a young man on a bicycle in front of a schoolyard gate, looking like it was the 80s when I was in Singapore. He was laughing. I don't know if this man was a friend, a lover, a son, a family friend, who this young man is. Perhaps Italian, or maybe Australian. Maybe this isn't even a cherished memory at all. I looked at the Ganesh statue and picture of my family again. Really quite a shame. I truly forgot most anything I'd done with them. I started trying to learn some Hindu poems and songs. Went out and got a copy of the Vedas, but I can't memorize the lines properly. I've been reflecting on when Vakat told me about when he passed. I've been reflecting on what Venkat told me before he passed, though. His deep, deep-seated fear of mediocrity, and able to rise out of the sea of humans that walk on the face of this earth. He's worked for the Foundation for years, and while he isn't one of the most well-known household names of the Foundation, he's not exactly obscure. He's been the Foundation's leading marine biologist and go-to expert for anything aquatic, and quite well revered. I'm actually quite surprised by his jealousy. He never was the flashy and bombastic type, and I never would have guessed that he wanted fame and recognition. Perhaps he really was afraid that he is doomed to be stuck in mediocrity. Perhaps the science of this place reminded him of something worse. Oh, you earned a Twitch badge, Lee. Nice. Twitch Recap 2023. Sure, whatever that is. Addendum 3000.6. Memorandum on ATSAC Brief, Level 5/3000 classified. Some new assignments had questions about our work here, so I'm publishing this to clear most of them up. Feel free to contact most of them if there are any others. Thank you, Kelly, for your contribution to the One-Off Game Stream Challenge. The ATSAC protocol is a method for gathering and processing the Y909 compound. It's a thick, brackish grey fluid that 3000 excretes as part of its metabolism. We don't know the exact method by which it does this, but we have some ideas, and none of them are great for us. Initially, we thought it was bleeding. The first team we sent down to look at 3000 went down to collect blood samples for analysis. When 3000 attacked and consumed them and began producing more of this substance, we realized that we were looking at something different entirely. It's definitely not blood. It's more akin to a prion slurry. It's extremely toxic, and spending too much time around the stuff causes a lot of the same effects as exposure to 3000 does. Paranoia, memory loss, suicidal thoughts, etc. Refining the raw Y909, what the processors call eel jelly, allows us to create amnestics more effectively than any we've ever had access to in the history of this organization. What, Cape? It's an hour until lunch. Here lies the ethical dilemma. 3000 only creates Y909 after eating, and it only eats humans. Remember when I said we have some ideas about how it does this? Some of our biologists have hypothesized that 3000 is breaking down whatever makes sapient creatures sapient, filtering it through some part of its skin, and the residual ether is what we collect. You want to know something really fucked up? We've taken radiographs of this thing, trying to see what's going on inside of it. It's full of dead human bodies. It's not digesting them at all. It's doing something else, and the end result is Y909. One of the most engaged users get the most there. When we first started using Y909 in our amnestics programs, we tried to synthesize it. We got something close to what we were looking for, Y919, but the side effects were catastrophic. The amnestics would work. We could get people to forget events, people, and so on, but then they would start to forget other things too. Mental deterioration would rapidly increase until there was nothing left and they would die. A few of those researchers thought that we might be able to figure out how to decrease the severity of those side effects, but the cost to continue those trials would have been astronomical, and the program was discontinued. It's no secret that what we're doing here is abhorrent. The ethics committee, the classification committee, they're all looking at ways to make this more tolerable than what it is. But the hard truth is, if we want to continue to use modern amnestics, we have to use Y909. If we want to have Y909, we have to feed D-class as SCP-3000. Otherwise, we'd be forced to go back to the metaphorical Dark Ages, when we were amnesticizing people with opiates and chloroform. The good news is we're developing ROVs that should be able to take over the job of collecting the raw material from our dive teams. This will eliminate any chance of accidental casualties like we've had in the past. It's a good first step. For everything else, only time will tell. Knox. Addendum 3000.7. Personal Journal of Dr. Manava. Following. The following is a full text of page, penned in the hand of Dr. Manava, which was ripped out of a journal placed on his nightstand. Undated. I've spent a considerable amount of time on this assignment attempting to understand the underlying effects of individuals exposed to a Class 8 cognito hazard. I've conducted numerous personal interviews, written a great many psychological reports, but I've not been able to properly deduce what about this creature would lead a perfectly sane man out of the door of that airlock into the maw of the eel. Excuse me. This week, as I was preparing my notes for another report, I accidentally knocked a picture of myself, my wife, and my daughter off my nightstand. The glass shattered and it hit the ground, and the picture fell out. As I cleared it up, I noticed something written on the reverse of the image. It said, Anand, Shanti, and Padma, June 2002. But the writing was not mine. It was Venkat's. I was puzzled by this. Why would Venkat have writing on the back of a picture of mine? I thought little of it at the time and cleaned up the mess and went about my day. This question stuck with me. It was a little thing, easily explained in any number of ways, but I could not seem to shake the notion of uncertainty. It was not until last night that horrifying thought struck me, one I could not sleep on. I accessed the Foundation personnel archives and realised a truth I could not reconcile. Shanti was Venkat's first wife. Padma was his daughter. The records are clear. The life I remember, the experiences I'm certain I've had with them, are the experiences and memories of Venkat, not me. I've never been married. I have no children. Even now I can see my wife in my mind, hear her laughter, smell her hair. But I know now that it's Venkat I see through, not me. The horror of this realization has been replaced with a queer sort of dread. I figured out what the eel does. Something about it, some latent part of its creation, abhors cognition. It breaks down human consciousness and scatters the parts of us that we believe is soul, until all that remains is what we really are, electrical signals that will someday become inert. If I can't even remember myself, how can I expect anyone else to remember me? I've forgotten my own life. I'm strangely apathetic at this revelation. I will fade into the darkness, as thousands before me have. Thousands after me will. No one will care as I am forgotten. I do not despair for my own sake. But for us all, you and I, we will all face obliteration. I'm not important. You're not important. Vast droplets of irrelevancy, stretching eons in the sea of mine. We may fight against it, but our enemy is inevitability. Do not think that the eel is Anastasia. I don't think it would matter if it was. What's clear to me now, as I feel myself coming apart, is that the eel is not a mythological creature or divine serpent. Perhaps it's just a primitive creature that eluded us, holding no malice. Perhaps it really is a primordial deity, harbouring resentment beneath the surface. The eel is not the harbinger of my demise, or humanity's doom. The eel is not the end of all things. It only shows us what the end looks like. In spite of everything we might believe, every ideal we hold or providence we pay for, I know this much is true for all of us. Our end will be a forgotten one. Dr. Manava was later discovered unresponsive near the aft airlock. Evidence suggests that Dr. Manava had broken into the onboard storage locker and ingested a significant amount of raw Y909. Dr. Manava was moved off the air meter and remains at Site 151 for analysis. Jesus Christ, that was fucking dark.